Alright, welcome to 7th grade pre-AP first lesson at home. This is an intro to algebra. Don't worry, you are at the right video. This is for 7th grade pre-AP. But we start off learning about algebraic expressions and stuff like that. So let's get started. We're going to mainly be talking about variables and expressions. So first off, variables. A variable is a letter or symbol used to represent a value that can change. That's key right there. A value that can change. I mean, why represent something that doesn't change? I mean, you're not going to put A for 2 if 2 is always going to be 2. You just don't do that. You represent something that's going to change. Or if you don't know it. So like, let's say we're looking for a value, which is algebra. We're always looking for a value or a set of values, and we're trying to figure out a puzzle to figure out what the value is. We might put an A or a B in there and then later on be able to figure out what that is. Now, we can represent it as letters or symbols. You could even do a smiley face like this guy. It doesn't matter as long as you represent it. Now, you want to represent it with meaning. So in other words, if I'm representing the number of cats that are in the city, then I'm probably going to pick C for cats. Or if I want to represent money, I might put like M for money or M for month or Y for year and so forth. So try to put something that it represents the true meaning. Okay, a constant. A constant, y'all all know. You just never called it really a constant. A constant is just a number that never changes. Like 2 is always going to be 2 because 2 is 2. And it's always 2. It never change. It never will change. Alright, numerical expressions. Numerical expressions are basically just numbering operations. So like for an example, 2 plus 3. That's a numerical expression. There's a plus sign for an operation and then 2 numbers. That's all it is. An algebraic expression is different. It can contain variables, operations, and constants. We're going to be spending most of our time with here in this class. Next year you'll be dealing with this area. Now sometimes this year we will go into algebraic expressions just for a little higher level thinking. But right now we're going to keep it here. Let me give you an example real fast of an algebraic expression. A simple one would be like x plus 5. That's a variable plus an operation and then 5 a number. Alright, different operational expressions. I know my handwriting's bad, that is different. Operational expressions. Here are the 4 ones. 4 operations. Plus, sum, plus can also be written as sum of or increase by. Minus sign can be minus, difference of, and this one's always real tricky for everybody. Less than and decrease by. Less than, we'll go over a little bit later, but it's a really tricky one. People get it confused all the time. Now, multiplication is multiplying times equal groups of and product of. Dividing is divided by and quotient. A lot of people get this one. And this one mixed up. But just remember, product is making something out of other things, making things out of a group of stuff. So when you have a product of something, you're multiplying. You have equal groups of it, like 2 sets of 3 would be 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Alright. There are some examples of how to write these in words. X plus 3. Let's do this one first. The sum of a variable and 3. Now you don't have to put a variable in 3. you could put the sum of x and 3. And that's fine. I just wanted you to see it written this way. You could also put a variable is increased by 3. Alright, next example is multiplying. 2 times y is a way to write that. And then the product of 2 and y. And then next example is m minus 7. And here's the one that everybody gets confused on right here. 7 less than m. You see how it's backwards. Now you see how this one right here is m minus 7, and then the difference of m and 7 both have m first. Well, when you do this one right here, it's backwards because you're saying 7 less than m. So that would be like taking m and minus 7. Let's always think about it in numbers. If you're ever confused, always plug in some numbers. What's 9 less than 10? Well, you automatically think, oh, it's 1. Because 9 less than 10 is 1. But how would you actually write that out? You would say 10 minus 9 is 1. You see how it's backwards? So always be careful with that one. Alright, last example is division. K divided by 5. You can write it this way, K divided by 5, or you can do the quotient of K and 5. Now a lot of people when they read this, they're like, oh, K divided by 5. That is not right. Because if I said 8 was divided by 2, that's 4. But if I wrote it this way, right here, it would have been, which is 1/4, it's upside down. So, this is not the correct way. It's always the first one. When you're doing division, it's always the first number first, or letter, and then the second number, or letter. Same thing with the quotient of. The quotient of K and 5. Alright, evaluate. Whenever I say I want you to evaluate this expression, it really means to find a value. And we do a lot of that. We always try to find a value. It's always a puzzle in math. So, we're trying to find this value. So, for example, evaluate x plus y when x is 8 and y is 5. Well, in this case, we're going to substitute values of x and y into the expression. So, here we have x equals 8 and y equals 5. So, what we're going to put down here is 8 for x and 5 for y. So you see, you get 8 plus 5 is 13. That's how easy it is. Let's do another one. Evaluate x over z if x is 8 and z is 2. Oh, just a second, let me change colors. Is that the right one? Nope. Sorry. Alright. So x is 8 and z is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And that's pretty much it. And that's the end of the first video. I hope you take good notes, and I can't wait to see you in class. See y'all soon.